Alrighty. So, welcome everybody back to, I believe this session is 41/23. How is everybody doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Good.
Great.
Also, we got Aaron back, right?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, awesome. Just clarifying. All right, so unfortunately, we are, I'm assuming for the time being, without Jake, and I'm hesitant to say for the time being, without Michaela for the session tonight. But we are gonna just kind of do a redo of certain events anyways, so they kind of already, and both of them I think were there for the previous session, so they kind of already have the gist of what's going on, and at the very least know their sides on a certain conversation that needs that will be addressed this upcoming, or for this session. With that said, where did we leave off last session? Awesome.
remember
Okay,
the
so
fleet.
all right. So
Sorry, I was thinking about the fleet got destroyed and Poseidon's there. I think that's what happened last time.
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all that did. Well, okay. So the last session we left off, the combat between the Aesir court and the consort of caustic chains, Vukarik, had just came to a close as you all were victorious in his floating castle alongside Heimdall in defeating him and all of his demons along the volcanic mountainside of his domain. You all recuperated, went back down to do some additional shopping from some of the vendors that were brought along with the Aesir fleet. As you watch the rest of the Aesir fleet kind of begin to dock along the sides of the volcano, begin to sort of bleed into the ruined city that surrounds Vukarik's castle, and you all get a moment of peace. I say with an evil smile. A few things happen as we end about 8 hours of this long rest. You all gain the benefits of a long rest. To those that were not here for the end of the combat and then the following session, you all are now an additional level, which I say you all level up. Group 2 is currently level 10. Group 5 is currently level 9. I still have to find a way for that to even out at some point. But regardless, you all eventually return back to the floating castle to kind of recuperate. You listen in on the plans of the Aesir court in their next objective to take on the volcano of Turglass. The Ebon Maw, the demon that you had seen that seemed to just encompass the entire volcano and all of his subjects within this gluttonous body of himself. A few things additionally happen. Church.
Yes.
As you return from your long rest, returning to the central throne room of this castle, stepping up to meet you, still towering over you, even with his medium size, is Heimdall. He looks down to you with this very much like metallic dragonborn kind of resting aggressive face. As he looks to you, you see that he is holding this small black chain in his hand, what looks to be a section of Vukarik's own chains. As he looks to you, he says, "Our battle was victorious here, and it was you that dealt the final blow. In my culture, it is customary for the metals of our enemies to be strewn on our person as trophies or as armaments to use in further combat. And as you had dealt the final blow and had killed Vukarik, I offer this custom to you." So he kind of offers the chain, this small bit of chain, to you, and you can now see that he himself also has done this. As you can see on his left brace, you see one of the larger sections of Vukarik's chains is wrapped around his lower forearm.
So he's handing me like just chains, as in like loose chains.
Yeah, it's like a small little like uh, foot long chain of rope, chain that looks like it was just cut from Vukarik.
Ooh, I want to wrap like one of the like I kind of want to wrap the chains around
Yeah,
my
like what he has
arms.
on his forearm.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
I think that would be
he
cool.
can.
Wrap it around.
He would definitely offer to help you with that as he kind of like wraps this, begins to help you wrap this around your forearm. I will ask, do you wish to use it on the arm with your eye, or the arm without?
I'll then the arm that has the eye, and I'll cover the eye up with the chain if that's possible.
Okay, it definitely is. He does look a little he looks down at what is at the moment just a slit across your forearm, unaware of the arcane and the eye that would open in your forearm, as he kind of just you pointed out to him, specifically asking for him to attempt to cover it, and he does, as he helps you wrap this. It's this black chain that begins to, it has this burning sensation across it. It's almost like the heat of this volcano and the heat that was billowing from Vukarik is still on this person, on this chain, even after several hours of dormancy. But he continues to wrap it around your arm, and you now have this this cool little ornate section of your forearm, wrapped in the chains of your slain demon lord.
Nice.
He then kind of like steps back, gives you this little like chest fist across his chest, with a little dip of his head, and then he walks away.
Thank you. I will wear it well as we take it into battle.
He gives a nod and he walks away. And one of the things I wanted to do was also let Myra do that. I'll talk to Michaela about that at some point. But he's specifically offering this up to Church, who had killed Vukarik, and Myra, because he had noticed that she had a lot of anger that she expressed towards the end of that combat, where she was kind of just fucking pelting cantrips at him, at his dying corpse. But regardless, is there for the people that were here last session, is there anything that you'd like to do that wasn't mentioned last session? Okay. So, all right. So, at the end of this long rest, the Aesir coalesce in the central throne room. You see Odin, Mimir, Heimdall, the Vanir, Freya and Freyr, the sons of Odin, Thor, Balder, and Loki. They all coalesce in the throne room and begin to discuss future battle plans. Last session, this meeting had discussed the next upcoming demon lord, which was Turglass, the last demon of Jotunheim that they feel would be necessary to defeat before being able to isolate the Dark Seldarin from the rest of the demon lords in the Forbidden East, and then potentially be able to reach out towards the rest of the people in Sardonia. You all had given as much information as you could about Turglass, with the limited amount of scouting that you had been able to do before you were chased out by the demons that that lurked within his own gullet. And the meeting adjourns with the plans for the following day to be spent making their way making the days-long journey by sea to conquer Turaglass. As this meeting comes to an end, the Odin's final sentence is cut off suddenly as he begins to conclude this meeting. This single eye that he has, you watch as the pupils dilate with this shock on his face. This sinking feeling as almost this muted green skin could somehow get pale as he staggers back almost as if he was hit with this wave of melancholy out of nowhere. The rest of the Aesir around you begin to notice this change in emotion from Odin, and they look curiously at Odin. Mimir questions Odin as he approaches and says, "My king, what troubles you?" Odin kind of just doesn't say a word as he's just staring into the abyss, just staring down at nothing. Almost, and his eye, you watch as his eye is staring down, but then he begins to look off in different directions. This pupil is just shooting off and looking as if everywhere at once, and yet his stature is still staring at the ground. Mimir raises a hand and places it on his shoulder, and the spellcasters of the group recognize a detect thoughts casted from Mimir onto Odin. He is willing, and Mimir too gets struck with this shock, this melancholy, as he staggers away from Odin, looking extremely terrified. At this point, the Aesir are getting more frustrated than confused, or more so, they're getting frustrated at the confusion, as they still don't know what's going on. Mimir is just staring down, and it is at this point where Myra, in the last session, had casted specifically detect thoughts on Odin, and had seen carnage, had seen the end of Asgard. Asgard, the capital of Niflheim, is a barren waste, is a ruined city. Through the eyes of Odin's ravens can see that the city is sundered and overpopulated with demons. Dead orcs. The capital is taken in the absence of the Aesir court and its entire army. Neglected by the Aesir court. I believe Myra then begins to relay this information. So this becomes public to the rest of you all. Sorry, was someone saying?
So we obviously need to do something about this, right? Stop this before this happens. Church will look to the group and ask and beckon as Myra relays to us the impending doom that she foresees.
I think it's already happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mimir kind of like he's clutching his head in this almost manic way as he looks down, as he's looking down, as he says,
Okay.
"What is to be done? There's nothing to be done. It's already taken. The city is already taken. Niflheim, Asgard, the capital." Oh, hello.
Hi guys.
What's up, Jake?
Hello. We are just getting into. We are about like 20 minutes into the session. We are just going over certain events that happened last session.
Oh, okay.
We're just getting to the point about regarding Asgard. So you didn't miss much. But anyways, before I was about to just have a mental breakdown. Mimir's just staring at the ground, vacant eyes agape, aghast, as he is just looking down. He says, "What is to be done? There's nothing to be done. Asgard is taken. We are all dead. There is nothing to win for. We are all dead. There is nothing left." As you watch as he
Calm down.
is immediately sucker punched in the face by Thor and sent against the wall that he is standing next to. As Thor looks to him as he says, "You shut your mouth! We will say none of this to the army! None of this to our comrades!" "Your prophet is broken, my king."
You have to punch him like that.
As becomes a stirring chaos amongst the group. The Vanir seem shooken, but not so much as devastated as the rest of the orcs and of Niflheim, the people who actually live in Asgard. I believe Myra also begins to detect thoughts, and there is racing emotions across everyone. She's specifically looking for deception. She's looking for people that could potentially have caused this, could have potentially been a spy. And there's just racing thoughts across everyone. Mimir and Odin are both contemplating what they've seen. For Odin with his own eyes, and Mimir through Odin's thoughts. Mimir is very much more shooken than Odin, as he's trying to be more stalwart yet silent, as he's trying to calm himself down. Heimdall is concerned for the Deviat, the dragons of Niflheim. Thor and Balder are concerned about the army that they have left, as they are contemplating whether or not to even express this to the fall of Asgard to their soldiers, or to keep going with this crusade. And Loki seems to have concern over a child that has been left in Asgard, and whether or not they are still alive. Heimdall immediately brings his thoughts into expresses his thoughts verbally as he kind of like walks over to Mimir and is like very much in this interrogation. Mimir, if I remember correctly, Hecate, you immediately try to go up and try to help Mimir up and like tend to him as he tries to stagger to his feet. That is correct, right? Just verifying.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Heimdall immediately comes up to Mimir as he looks to him, and he says, "What of the Deviat? What of the Nine? What of my people?" And Mimir just looks as he says, "Your people would not allow our ravens to beckon into the mountain. I have no idea. For all I know, they are as dead as Asgard." As there is now just stirring anger and tension rocking across the Aesir. Are you all doing during this? Are you just kind of like spectating, or is there action?
I would just kind of be listening in, yeah.
Okay.
Trying to do my best to kind of gauge who's on the side that I would like to be on.
Okay.
I guess knowing that I'm gonna have to be on a side.
It's not so much like a civil war is raging out. It's very much so like the Aesir are in chaos at the loss of their capital city, and Thor is very much taking out his anger on anyone that is like freaking the fuck out. Everyone else is kind of just like trying to figure out what they should do, both about the information that they have about the fall of Asgard and whether or not they should continue this crusade with the rest of the army. As all of this chaos is beginning to rise in this fiery tension within this throne room, all of a sudden you all begin to hear as a projectile flies in from away from the castle and flies through the open front doors of the throne room and crashes onto the throne room floor. A crystal of ice is stabbed and cracks into the ground. The Aesir kind of just go silent as they look at this crystal. You watch as there is this collective projectile consisted seemingly of this shard of ice that now sticks into the ground, into the floor, and also this pool of water that begins to kind of extend outward from the crystal. It almost looks like the crystal is melting instantly from the billowing heat of this volcano below it. But the crystal doesn't shrink. It doesn't lose its form as the water continues to pool out. But eventually, the water pools out, stops, and begins to retract back towards the crystal. The water begins to collect around the crystal, like this almost shell. And then this pseudopod, this limb, protrudes from the crystal this limb of pure water, that part of the water that is collecting around this crystal. And then another limb. And the two limbs plant themselves on the ground and push upward, leaving this column of water that takes on the appearance of a humanoid form. The crystal placing itself as the head of this humanoid form.
Does it look angry? Does it look
It's hard to read emotions from a crystal. It does have this like it takes on this form, and the rest of the Aesir kind of look confused before the crystal itself begins to move and the rest of the body shifts to almost examine everyone in the room. It looks at individual people. This eyeless, this faceless crystal begins reading everyone, examining the throne room it has entered. And then its arms extend in this grandeur pose. Aesir Court of Asgard. Truly a sight to behold. Truly the diamonds of the rough. As this voice doesn't seem to protrude from anything in the creature, but rather this omnipresent voice begins to become audible in this, not really seeming to have a specific place it is being spoken from, but it can be like assumed that it's this entity.
Hmm.
The unless anyone would like to, I'm gonna actually I'll ask if, for the purposes of my visual clarity, if people could move themselves around the throne room here to place themselves where they would actually like to be for this. We'll have Odin
if
is
I
going to
had-
be right here.
If I had killed Vukarik from here, I guess I would still be.
Well,
Yeah,
it's been
sort of
like
around-
it's been several hours.
Oh, okay, then
You've had downtime, you've had a long rest.
I totally missed that you said there was a long rest.
Oh yeah, there was like a full 8 hours in between what's happening now and
Yeah,
what happened.
I'll be up near the.
Put Champ with you.
Up near
as
the.
well. You're just sitting in Odin's lap.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Up here near the throne with Champ.
I'm gonna be leaning on a wall. Very
Champ will be
cool.
on like this.
I can't move my token.
What do you mean you can't move your? Okay.
I was just trying to be next to Mimir, like how. I
Okay,
said I
let me
would.
verify. Yeah, for some reason I didn't give a single person editing access to your character. There you go.
That's great.
Now you can move them.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I still have
Uh,
access to church, by the way.
To church? That's
Yes.
fine.
I just moved him. Okay, I'll leave you alone, I promise.
I'm gonna put. I'm assuming Myra. I'm gonna assume that's where Myra is gonna be. For the time being. Livid, is that where you want Citrine to be?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Just right in front.
Yeah.
Okay. There's too many people that take up way too much space. And that's entirely my fault because they're all NPCs. Okay. This crystal would actually kind of be like here-ish. There we go. Is there any specific reactions to this entity? Like, is there anything anyone would like to do, or are we just continuing to spectate? Spectation is fine.
So can I like
Nate,
roll
because-
nature just to see if it's like
Sorry, there's too
like
many
what type
voices.
of elemental? Like, oh,
Sorry, Jake, what was your question?
would I like roll religion or nature to see like how much of a natural elemental is it?
I'm going to say you can do an Arcana check. I think would make sense for this roll. Nature wouldn't necessarily, I don't think, would work for this one.
Uh,
I'll say a history check can also work if you'd like to roll that.
oh, okay. Oh, damn, apparently I didn't finish leveling up last session. Oh.
I don't think that would impact your skill check though.
Yep.
I think would be fun unless this is the level in which you gain a proficiency increase. Zoe, what were you saying?
I was asking, like, how hostile do the words seem? Like, is there something that I can, because church tends to
Go
lean
ahead
on
and
the
make
brighter side of things. Does it seem
Go ahead
evil?
and make an insight check.
Okay. Let's see here. Insight.
Okay. What is everyone else doing?
Petal is
I can-
100% trying to figure out if we're getting paid enough for this.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me. That's what I was about to say. I was like,
All right.
why is everyone panicking? I'm like, this is people
Well,
paying
you know,
us. I'm like,
man,
oh,
it's
Lord.
just a guy.
Man, we got sent out here to pick up one nerd, and now we're going to Orc War.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
thinking
love
too.
you're like, we're here to pick up one nerd that I'm now learning from. So now I am the nerd.
Hey, didn't need to be rescued myself. That's all I'm saying. I don't think anyone needed to
I
be
don't think
rescued.
Myra wanted to be rescued.
And that one.
Shit. All right, so we got a 15 to insight and a natural 1 to Arcana
Wait, Lana,
check.
what were you gonna say, Lana?
Oh,
You were
I
trying
was
to
gonna say I can roll Arcana, so I have +6. to check it
If you'd
out.
like to also try to figure out the nature of this entity, you can.
Yeah.
I
Let
keep
me
forgetting I have
add
to pull
him.
up D&D Beyond.
Let me add him.
All right. I just need to find the time to actually copy your character sheet into. Oh wait, you have. Okay. God fucking damn. All right. On a 24.
Jesus.
On a
I'm
24,
smart,
this
guys.
this doesn't look. This looks like a water elemental. Plain and simple. But something's off. This crystal doesn't look like the usual kind of the water elementals are just conjurations of water. They are living water. They don't really have any sort of crystalline heart, crystalline head, brain. So this kind of looks not so much like a water elemental, not a sentient water elemental, but almost like, and especially with the way in which it is in the way in which it's speaking, the way in which it's kind of acting, it almost feels like a conduit of magic, an extension of something. I think that's all I'm gonna give. But on but 15 to insight, something feels eerily familiar about this this entity itself, arms out, grandeur gesture, it's almost like a showman. It's not so much there's not so much rage in his voice. It's almost amusement as he's looking on at the diamonds in the rough, as he's referring to.
Hey, sorry. I got caught. A
What's
friend
that?
texted me about a thing, and I got caught up with that thing, and so I've been out for a bit. Alright, we're still waiting on Ryan. Oh, we're playing today. Nice.
Jake, we all good?
Well, everyone else is here.
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
Okay. Just verifying. Zara, are we back? Are we good?
Yeah. My Discord cut out for a second.
I gotcha. Did you hear anything I was saying about the insight check?
No, I didn't hear the results of the insight check.
It's fine. Okay, so on a 15 to insight, something feels familiar. So the creature itself seems to have this very open-armed gesture, has this very almost charismatic tone to his voice. There's not so much rage as there is amusement, as he's looking on at what he refers to as the diamonds in the rough of something. But it's almost like he's not taking that comment seriously. He's not taking any of this seriously. He's having fun.
Familiar, you say?
It feels familiar, and you're not really sure how to pin it. But it feels like you've interacted, or at the very least, seen this person before.
And I won't take any action right now. I'll just kind of stand by with the champ and kind of, since I'm closer to the back, just kind of watch from the back there,
I gotcha.
see how the situation unfolds.
Okay. As he finishes the diamonds in the rough, Thor begins storming forward as he looks to this entity and says, "Now what is this nonsense? What are you?" The omnipresent voice continues, "I am just a spectator. A spectator looking on at an endangered species. So few Aesir remain, and I wanted to take in the sight." Thor then retorts, "I assure you, there are quite a number of us. Plenty enough to not be considered whatever this endangered species you're referring to. Now what are you?" I would beg to differ in that regard. As you see, I can see him. As you see, there's quite a few remnants of this endangered species here before you. As you can see, there is this historical site, the end of the Aesir, down below. As he kind of turns and looks down off the cliff face of this floating island. And Thor kind of just like walks past this entity and just looks on. And you just see him stare silently. All sort of like tension and rage kind of just drops. As the entity then turns around, he says, "Like I said, just taking in the sight. Obviously, I won't be here. I wouldn't do so in person. The stench of the Underdark is toxic. I wouldn't want that to stain my undying clothing." And you see, Balder seems to just kind of ignore what he's saying and join his brother down below. As the rest of the the Aesir kind of just wait expectingly. Anything. You can also just interrupt me if you want to do anything during this conversation. Anything at all? Just check. All right.
Hey, mister, you seem pretty knowledgeable. Oh, what killed all the other Aesir?
I want to just attack
If
this
this
guy.
is supposedly the last ones.
Oh. Well, it was this terrible creature. I believe Dagon is his name. Kind of the crystal almost cocks its head to the side as it then corrects itself and then says, "That is correct. Dagon, a lovely creature, brought an end to the rest of this Aesir fleet that you had so graciously just brought to the middle of our territory. And now they are gone. The consequences of actions."
Cool. Is Dagon here nearby?
Oh, Dagon is still very present. You seem very lax about the fact that your entire Aesir army is just gone. As he just gestures out back over to Odin and Balder as they're just looking down.
Emotional outbursts are only saved for Zo. Wait. For church.
Ah. I okay. There's always this like bit of confusion as he just looks on and he says, "Right. Now, why don't we end the pleasantries? I believe it is time for you all to surrender. Give up. For you are the last of this unfortunate and pitiful crusade that you have been taking on."
So, for an observer, you seem pretty much on the side of the demons.
Of course. Of course I'm on the side of the demons. I am Poseidon, the tides of Ithaca.
Oh, didn't Ithaca have like something happening in there? I heard someone have a vision of it. I don't remember what information I know was from meta knowledge or that we got from here.
No,
Sorry.
you did get some sort of knowledge involving the Battle of Ithaca. As he looks to you, he says, "And if I believe correctly, I also know that Muspelheim is quite in danger at the moment. And my own cousin, my own nephew, it's hard to tell." You should
Oh,
probably
Muspelheim
check
is in
on it.
danger. Oh, okay, he
wouldn't
checks
you
in
know?
on that. He asks
Okay, you
Kashurenum in the middle of the conversation.
you kind of just like, as he kind of just looks and he says, "Anyways, back to what I was saying." As a column of water bursts out from his chest as Thor's hammer just goes bursting through his body. And the humanoid figure kind of just doesn't even flinch a bit at the hammer that just kind of flies through his chest, almost hitting Citrine as the hammer gets like within an inch of his face before it magically just slows and then rips back towards the humanoid figure, just crashing through the body again and clambering into Thor's hand. As he just looks, "You bastard! Where are you?" As he just like he just fucking grabs the crystal with his free hand, and just rips it to his face. As the creature looks pleased. Any sort of harm to this spectator has no effect on me. You are doing as you have been doing this whole time. Futilous effort. Thor kind of just throws the fucking crystal away, and the rest of the water of this humanoid figure kind of just like flies to meet with the crystal as it tries to retain its humanoid form. Anyways, as I've been so rudely interrupted twice already, this crusade of yours is over. Your Aesir fleet gone. Asgard is defeated. You can thank my friends Azeroth and Kostich for that. I believe it is time for this game of yours to end. Both for the Aesir court and for... I'm sorry. What was the title that you all bared? The Fellowship of the Slime?
Who came up with that name?
I don't remember calling us all.
Nope, that was not you. That was in fact Group 2.
Oh.
For the record, out of character, I came
No,
up with that name.
And
Petal was nowhere around.
Previous character came up with that name, and now it's literally just Tequila, Drew, and Church that are left of that fellowship.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
And it was a slime dragon. Thank you very much.
Oh, pardon me,
Well,
a slime dragon. Fellowship of the Slime Dragon seems so much more menacing. Clearly. Nevertheless, your tampering with and partnership with this Aesir court means you share their punishment of death.
You okay?
Hell yeah, roll for initiative.
I'm just a contractor. Do I really need to die?
Same.
You
They don't even give us health insurance.
I haven't been paid yet. If I got paid, I'll leave.
We did get paid.
I'm then going to
Well, then I'm done.
Say that out loud.
I'm going
Out.
to then let Myra do what they were planning on doing, which was when at the sight of the Aesir, they are going to take their broom of flying and fly out and down. To the people that weren't here last session, and to the people that didn't see the stream, the Balder and Thor are currently looking down at the mountainside, at the volcano, and the waters that now inhabit the ruins and the dead remains of the entire Aesir fleet that is just laid to waste down below. Shrapnel of wood and weaponry kind of bobble across the water surface as a single figure just barely floats above the water. A single humanoid figure towering about 10-ish feet tall, wielding a trident in his hand as he sort of drifts and floats atop the water. And Myra takes her broom of flying and is making her way straight over to about 100 feet away, I believe was the correct distance, or it was either 100 feet or a mile away from this creature before placing a sensor right next to this this humanoid figure to get this. I believe it was an audible. I have to look at them spelled very specifically, but they are going to look at this figure that just showed up. Arcane Eye, that was what they were doing. They are going to visually and audibly perceive what is going on over there. Looking on at the figure that is in fact Poseidon. Now, back in the castle, as you all are negotiating your terms of service towards this conduit of Poseidon, he looks to you all as he says, "Oh, you all, very much so, are going to die as well, regardless of if you are hired bounty hunters or not. Frankly, the fact that you are on the surface in the first place disgusts me."
Oh man. That's it. That's all I say.
You live in a fish toilet.
Oh man. All
The
right.
things.
Saves up
way
30
I'm
minutes of
just
argument.
trying to get- the way I'm just being like, your fucking army is gone and you are defeated, and everyone's just like, damn, that really sucks.
And we're gonna die. There's no negotiation.
He's trying.
Alright,
Truly, you are just damaging his pride and ego. Where he's just like, your army is gone, and you're just like, yeah.
well, you got me.
Jake, you begin cycling through this hive mind with Kosherenum and all the constructs of Muspelheim. And a bit of lore that I don't think I've disclosed to the rest of to this group that you begin to perceive. So, Group 2, at least the people that were here, that the original Group 2. So sorry, Livid. If you all remember, one of the very first plot points that your group had loosely contributed to was a civil war happening in the desert sands of Beator, one of the continents of Sardonia, involving the 7 kingdoms of the Hellen Empire and the Great Aeneid, as Zariel was laying siege to a lot of the lesser villages and cities that dominated the empire, which seemed to include the city of Kindori, the main city of the Great Aeneid. Drew, you cycle through this hive mind and see that Muspelheim is aiding in this endeavor, specifically aiding the Great Aeneid in their endeavor, as your original objective, which led you to join this group, was to act as almost this ambassador, this emissary of Muspelheim, to see whether or not the conflict in Beator was a viable point of interest to get involved in this war that was going on, and whether or not it was a justified war or if it was just a mindless conflict that was happening in Beator. And after your research, you found it was a viable thing. The Aeneid weren't being subjugated. The people of Zariel were sundering, were unjustly being slaughtered. and Muspelheim joined the Great Aeneid to step and to aid in this endeavor, to aid in their endeavor in this war. It looks like, from the vast information that you're able to look through, one of the important POIs that have aided the Hellen Empire in their endeavor is Hephaestus. And
Oh,
Hephaestus is aiding in the Hellen Empire, and is one of the main cruxes that is quite quickly dwindling the forces of Muspelheim. As you also can see a lot of things involving what is happening with your mentor, Dr. Jekyll, and the rest of the things that are transpiring in Muspelheim, where kind of Muspelheim is extending forward to help in other wars that are happening. Muspelheim is aiding in other cities where Zeus is attacking, where Zeus is attacking again, where like different people from meta knowledge, Greek mythology, are just laying siege to different parts of Sardonia. And Muspelheim is offering to aid in this endeavor, but is subsequently being decimated, as they are almost being stretched thin across Sardonia. But that is what you see as you kind of try to look in on the information that Poseidon is talking about.
as I start seeing more and more of the destruction of Muspelheim, Drew slowly gets a blue screen.
Okay.
And then
I
he
fucking
then
hate that you
restarts.
made that a soundboard sound effect on this server. Okay.
He restarts back up.
Yeah, so everyone kind of just like mid shit talking Poseidon, like not even shit talking, it's just kind of being just like giving him nothing to work with. You just kind of hear little sparks fly out from from Drew's head as he's kind of just going just falling apart at the overload of information that he's been given.
I just mouth to Church and it's like, is he okay? But I just mouthed it. It's like, is this normal?
Church doesn't give you.
Sorry, sorry, can you guys hear me? Sorry, I was
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
I was on the phone. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Oh, no worries.
What is your response to Vic? Is he just kind of mouthing, "Is he okay? Is he okay?"
See a little blue screen on his face. It's like, oh, what's going on?
As you just watched like Drew's kind of like falling apart as he's getting this overload of information.
I'm not really quite sure. He does do this sometimes, though.
Huh. Interesting. Note to self. He does this.
He doesn't. Right. So, at some point, Poseidon just says, "Well, I would naturally love to continue this siege that has fallen the Aesir onto you. But disgust, intellect, and higher ups have forbade me from and from properly introducing myself to you and to your friends, to all of you. But honestly, a luxury. But simply put, you are going to stay here. And you are going to watch as again and again and again we will continue to remedy everything that you have done here in Jotunheim. Everything that you have done, this whole endeavor, this whole futile crusade, is going to mean nothing in the end. And eventually, all of this will just be forgotten. It's not like there's much to forget, at least in the western end of Sidonia. Anyways, I will take my gloating elsewhere. Toodles. And you just watch the humanoid form collapse as the pool of water begins to fall apart and spread across the floor, steaming away and evaporating from the heat of this castle. As the figure disappears. Was that you mocking Poseidon?
Me? No.
Okay. I'm assuming he's doing something else right now. All right, so
Probably still asleep.
now we get to the conversation that we kind of loosely discussed last session and in chat mid-session. What are we gonna do now? So to put it simply, Heimdall is going to try to go back to the Deviat. Odin is worried about something called the Everstream. I will let Vic and Hecate make history checks or Arcana checks on the Everstream, whichever one works better for you.
What? Sorry.
You can make a history check or an Arcana check on what is called the Everstream.
Right, another 24. Let's go.
Another 24. Fuck.
You give
no.
me.
You,
No, wait, that's the wrong one. Wait,
That was
what?
a
Wait, hold on. That's the wrong
deception
one.
check.
Hold on.
That was a natural
Hold
one.
on. Why did that roll a deception? Hold up. Wait a minute.
Okay.
I think so. There we go. Let's try this one more time.
All right.
No.
Weirdly
Oh, that's
enough,
harder
the non-caster knows about the Everstream more than the spellcaster, where their
I
magic
love about this, by the way.
knows more about the origin of their magic Anyways, so Heimdall is worried about the Deviat, the draconian side of Niflheim, where he resides. Odin is worried about what is called the Everstream. And Heimdall has the ability to teleport him and 7 other people from this castle to the Deviat, to Niflheim. Now, Odin is going to try to take everyone with him to try to take everyone in the Aesir court to do this. But to just clarify, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. That is exactly everyone in the Aesir court. Can do that. Myra and the rest of group 2 has left the Nahuatl that they brought with in Malefesh's volcano, in his domain. I believe one of the things the rest of the group wanted to do was to figure out whether or not they wanted to bring the Nahuatl to you guys or to just take the spring wind to Malefesh's volcano. Now, the more pressing matter is what you all want to do now that the Aesir are basically in full retreat. The Aesir are going back to Niflheim. They are going to check in on what the Everstream is, and they are going to try to recuperate what is left of Niflheim. Now, keep mentioning the Everstream. On a 17 to history check from Vic, you know. I'll give Hecate advantage on this because I feel like this should be something that
Definitely not me.
Go ahead and roll an Arcana check. I mean, you can know about it because you also have magic. I don't know why I said you were a non-caster. For some reason I just thought you were a rogue, but that's just Citrine.
I just
You definitely act like a rogue. But yeah, you can go ahead and re-roll your Arcana check. Okay.
Bro.
History so well. Okay.
On a 13, and dare I say an 11, the Everstream is pretty important enough for that to work. So I'll say both Hecate and Vic, the natives of Niflheim, both kind of know that the Everstream is a key source of magic in Niflheim. The Aesir court, all spellcasters that are like sorcerers, and then sorcerers and clerics, certain clerics, I should say, and certain other people. A main source of magic that isn't just wizards who learn magic is the Everstream. It is this channel of it is called the Everstream because it is this channel of magical water that constantly flows through a large section of the Underdark. And there is this key sense of magic that continues to emanate from this creature, from this Everstream that has been used as a conduit for magic by Odin, by Mimir, by Balder, by Thor. Not so much the Vanir because they get their own magic just from being part of the Feywild, but a lot of the Aesir use the Everstream as a conduit of magic. Whether or not this is something that is of interest to Poseidon, it's pretty safe to say. Given that it is water-related magic, but so the Aesir are basically trying to make sure that Asgard has fallen, but at the very least we still have the access to the Everstream. Now, you all, from what we discussed in the last session, there were two options that were expressed. Continuing the crusade, specifically continuing the crusade to the Dark Seldarin, just skipping Turglass entirely and moving down to the Dark Seldarin, or making your way out of the Forbidden East and toward the same way that Group 2 had made their way in, and making their way to Ampharina, which is the elven continent where Myra resides. where Myra is like she is native to. This would also include completing the quest that Group 2 has been given by it's always the names. Libellus Enareth. Which is the one that gave the quest involving keeping Myra safe and making sure she gets back to Ampharina. Yeah. Those were the two options that were expressed. If there are other options you want to express as well, feel free. But depending, there are certain things that'll happen depending on your choice. If you, I'll say, yeah, just go. I'll stop talking and let you guys decide. I know there was a lot of chat in the Discord chat regarding whether that there was heavy leaning towards you all going to Ampharina. Unless that's just a unified answer, I'll let you all discuss that. What you want to do.
We should go to Ampharina. We don't have the manpower or just the raw power to go to the Dark Celdron right now.
And if we go to Ampharina, we can maybe get that power, and also we get paid.
Doubly true.
Okay. Riveting
I'm
debate.
also for.
Anyway.
I'm also for.
Ampharina. I have some business to attend to there, as you all are aware.
It's not stealing a guy again, is it?
Hopefully not.
Isn't
Hopefully
stealing.
not. That's
Hopefully.
entirely up to you. Anyways.
We'll see what happens.
Dear Lord. Okay. Okay. Riveting debate. I realized that was very one-sided. It was like, go and fight dark elves by yourselves, or go to the good elves in their own continent, away from this hellscape.
Calling Ampharina the good elves feels really strong.
Go to the slightly better option.
The good elves, the ones who enslaved
good
the
elves.
ancient race of stone people and send them to die in pointless wars.
Hey,
The
that's
good elves.
Hey, that's okay. All right.
I'm glad to know
So-
that our characters are two of the good ones.
Now I should ask, do you make this decision public to the Aesir court?
Hell no. Fuck them. They're in
Probably
hysteria
not a
right
good
now.
idea too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do we have another way to contact them if we do come back around?
I believe Myra would have like access to sending spells. So let me just clarify. If the Aesir asks what you will do after your, if the Aesir ask what you intend to do, as they begin to leave, what is your answer to that?
That we're going to go back to Malefesh's volcano, collect our soldiers there, and
Plan our course of action.
bam.
Okay.
And to retreat. Leave it at that.
And to retreat.
Well, yeah.
Mimir
Is a
ever
strong word.
Mimir, ever the questioning person, asks, retreat to where exactly?
I look around, saying, "Well,
retreat away from this hellscape.
Retreat somewhere where Poseidons don't find us. Won't find us.
Bingo.
And I give him a thumbs up.
Just points. It just kind of like looks to Citrine's answer, looks to your answer, then looks back to Citrine's answer as he says, "Do you intend to leave the Forbidden East?"
Not.
Oh
no, no, no.
So we are
I'm not.
just
I'm not upset. I'm not upset. I'm simply asking because if you are to leave the Forbidden East successfully, we should send one of the Aesir court, as almost an emissary, as an ambassador.
Yeah, we're gonna leave and go get reinforcements because we
Okay.
can't deal with this by ourselves.
I completely agree.
And we can't guarantee
you are-
reinforcement.
That's also true.
We answer to other people. Some of them suck.
Yeah,
Okay. Regardless, I feel we should at least send one of the court with you. No.
it would definitely help your case.
Then we
But
must.
who would you send?
we must decide, my king. We must choose someone to go with them in order to seek aid, to reach out. Finally, it's been hundreds of years. You see, there is discussion over whether or not over who should go. Freya and Freyr offer. And Odin basically explains that they still need the two of them if they are to have any sort of continued relations with the Vanir that's still here, that are still in the Feywild, that are still able to help them. Mimir offers to go, and Mimir and Odin still needs his counsel. Thor offers to go, and he still needs his strength, and Odin still needs his strength. Loki offers to go, but Odin still needs his connection to the Everstream. Almost as if he has a significant connection to the Everstream. Odin says that he needs to stay in order to lead his people, and Heimdall still needs to act as the representative of the Devyats, and also Heimdall in general needs to stay here in order to get the rest of the Aesir to Niflheim safely. Which leaves only one person, Balder. Now, Balder and Thor could both theoretically act as Odin could definitely use both of them for their strengths. Balder has more of a connection to the people, an attunement to their hope and their valor. Thor has more of an attunement to their strength and vigor, their resilience. They're both useful, but both seem like to be the only option. So I will ask the rest of you all whether or not you would like Thor, or if you would like Balder.
I'm gonna vote Balder.
I'm gonna say Balder. Balder
Yeah,
seems like more of a homie.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a lovely gate.
Oh my god.
What?
You're right. Not wrong.
Yeah,
Not
I
wrong.
agree.
Not wrong.
Best gate ever.
Just a gorgeous gate. Massive.
We just
tall.
introduce him like, yo,
Oh
he
my
this is
God.
is Boulder, and
I
he
don't
breaks
know
the
why
gate
that
pretty much.
took so fucking long, because I was trying to look. I first started looking through all of my Norse information. I was like, Norse mythology. What does Balder have some sort of significance to Baldur's Gate? Fuck.
From the Greenwoodian mythology. The Book of Edward.
Okay. I'm tired. Anyways. Okay. So you all decide to choose Balder to act as the representative of the Aesir. And Thor will stay with his people. With that also in mind, Myra during the last session had offered the fact that there are still as the Aesir leave and are only able to take the Aesir, it also leaves their dragons. As you can see at the lower half of the map, there are quite a number of dragons that have been at their disposal and are still alive. And Myra offers that the dragons can offer a distraction from to Poseidon, as the spring wind makes its way over to Malefesh. The dragons can then depart and go off and make their travel to Niflheim as a way to almost act like they are the Aesir. They are like the Aesir are traveling by dragon riding to Niflheim, and it would be a way to distract Poseidon from your departure towards Malefesh's volcano. With that, they would only be able to take one dragon with them now that Balder is going with you all. So they are going to take I think Galopnir makes the most sense. Heimdall's dragon. So Heimdall's going to take his dragon, and then the rest of the Aesir court with him back to Niflheim. You are taking Balder with you and the Springwind, and making their way to Malefesh's volcano. The dragons are then going. The dragons led by Odin's dragon Sleipnir. The largest of them, the black dragon down here, is going to lead a distraction to lead Poseidon in a different direction from you all. Anything else anyone would like to add?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. A few things happen during this not during this conversation, as everyone is preparing to make this mass departure. Tequila, as you are prepping yourself and making your way and beginning to make your way to the Springwind, you feel an eye. You feel some eyes, a set of eyes on you, and you kind of like, it's this eerie fifth sense eerie sixth sense that tells you that you're being watched, and you look off towards that direction, and you see Loki. His eyes, this celestial gold, before they fade back to velvet green. He is currently staring at you, and then as his eyes turn back to velvet green, he makes his approach towards you. I don't know
yes,
if I've described him. I don't know if I've described his visual before. That's huge. Loki, this very pale-skinned humanoid figure of this brown leathers accented with this emerald green. He wields this wand and short sword in hand, with black flowing long hair behind him. He approaches you, where the rest of the Aesir are very tall and menacing and towering over you. Loki is very much still about 6 foot, not as tall as the rest of the people around you. But I believe that would still also technically be taller than Tequila. But very much so, more like a natural humanoid, in a very natural humanoid way. Loki looks to you and he says, "Your piece. What is this weapon that you wield?"
Oh, you want to know about my gun? You tell
Yes.
me about the eye thing, and I tell you about the gun. How about that?
A casting of detect magic.
Oh. Yeah, okay. So, the gun.
I was taking notice of your celestial magic that emanates from specifically you and this gun.
Okay, so, gun, shoots magic. It's meant to be like an equalizing force put into. Either way,
A vestige of the Nahuatl.
Is that what it is? I was not around when it was modified to
It
do what it's
is-
currently doing.
It is a vestige of the Nahuatl. It seems dormant.
I mean, it shoots pretty well, so what do you mean dormant?
If you wouldn't mind, I would like to leave you something as a form of communication in our separation. I would like to further discuss with this in less stressful times.
I mean, I'm really curious what you're going to say about my gun. So yeah. What, you got a sending stone or
He holds up his forearm, and slithering out of his sleeve and coiling around his hand is this navy blue snake. Tiny little crystal blue eyes peer at you with curiosity.
Okay, yeah, magic snake. Do I need to feed it?
No,
Does it have a name?
Jormungandr.
Oh,
Silence.
okay, yeah.
Silence. Yeah, he's Jormungandr, the world serpent. No. See, holds out a hand. Kind of just like holds it out towards you. The little snake gets a little.
Yeah, I
just,
I
like-
take the snake like,
you gotta like hold
very
out your
gently.
Hand. You kind of like hold out your hand towards his, and the snake kind of like coils around your arm, slithers up your arm, and disappears into your suit of armor.
Okay, hey, don't touch anything. It might blow up.
He will be harmless, I promise. But there's
Yeah,
much to discuss
okay.
involving your Nahuatl, your vestige.
Oh,
Gives a nod and he walks away.
What a weird guy. Now there's a snake in my harbor. I hate this place.
Church, what are you doing in
Yes.
preparation of leaving?
in preparation of us getting ready to leave, I would probably just be bonding with Champ. Sort of now that I can speak, does speak with animals work with something like Champ? To where we can like talk, but it's
I
out
have to
loud now.
verify
Like
because
I know.
so you have a telepathic communication with
Yeah,
Champ,
but I
which
want it
is
to
two
be
ways.
where like now it's not telepathic, but the only difference in our communication would be that now it's like I'm talking to Champ out loud. And now it's like for that to be the difference literally in our communication. Which I guess I could just
So,
do anyway.
Speak with animals
But, like-
clarifies that the creature has the classification of beast. You have
Mm,
specifically
okay.
you are specifically using Find Familiar that is and casting Champ as a fiend.
Okay, so
Uh,
then, yeah, either way, I would still just be kind of bonding with Champ, us working on some tandem movements,
Mm.
practicing some things where we're working together, doing stuff together.
Yeah. Where do you think?
And just
Where do you
kind
think you
of
would be
using
doing
the
this?
new.
Like just on top of the spring wind? I don't think you have much
Yeah.
packing like necessarily to do within Vukarik's castle.
Trying out using the new gauntlets on, little dummy things that I have
Just
Champ
keep
fly
like
up.
testing out the gauntlets on Champ and then recasting
Yeah.
Find Familiar.
Testing him out on like objects that he'll like pull up, and then I'll have him like try to go pull one next to another one, and you can see the effect kind of happening on different like sticks, random things throughout the area
Yeah, okay.
that he's able to go at.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
With that information, I think I'll give you what I wanted to later. But eventually, you all pack up your things. Sorry, last thing. Mimir is going to approach Hecate, Myra, and Vic, and is going to he's going to explain, though I have faith in Balder and his abilities to act as our representative, I would still appreciate if you were to bring Munin with you as an extension of my eyes.
What's
Who is he
new?
again? Who's that again? Sorry.
It's okay, Munin. It's just, it's the Raven.
Oh, but double
Another
ravens?
Double Raven.
It's so you have your Raven from the Raven Queen, but there's also Munin, who is Mimir's Raven.
I can get a bird like
Myra-
you guys now.
Myra had more of a connection to Munin's counterpart, Hugin, who died already in this session. Not in this session, but in this campaign. And it seems like Hugin and Munin are conjurations of Odin, very much like this Find Familiar-esque, with a bit more of personalities. And it seems that Hugin has been replaced by a counterpart, Fugin.
These are really
Okay.
great names.
Gotcha. All right. Definitely not a little bit confused, but all right.
You can
gotcha.
see how this is
Okay.
eventually going to spiral into the running joke of Hugin, Mugen, Jugin, Fugin. But yes, but he offers up Munin to you all to act as almost like your Mimir's eyes and a way for you to be able to contact Mimir non-magically.
So I can talk to animals. Does he have a voice?
Yeah, I have a voice. I've been telling this whole time. What do you mean?
Oh shit. Can Hecate can you talk to animals or no?
Nor.
Hello?
I was gonna give you
I'm talking
anyway.
right now.
I'm ignoring him still. I'm like,
just looking between the two of you like, hello?
do you want to babysit this bird?
Excuse
Or
me.
should I get both birds?
I'll bird sit the bird. Don't worry, friend.
All right, I get the
Hold on,
person who
I
doesn't
can
understand.
I can do my own babysitting. Thank you very much. I don't need babysitting.
And then I'm like, I tell to my, I don't even remember what my name my bird is. But I was like, don't be like this guy. All right. What does my bird sound like?
Hey!
Just
I
staring.
shapeshift into
You have
another
never-
raven.
You shapeshift into another raven.
Oh, yeah, we can.
So, to clarify, Vic, you have never actually heard your raven speak. Whenever you try to talk to it, it just stares at you with its endless void black eyes. Very much so not like the same demons, but it's just the natural void black eyes of a raven just staring back at you endlessly.
Oh, I'm gonna say, all right, Mugen, you see this guy right on my shoulder? You can talk to him when you need help, okay? And like fully knowing that he won't talk to this guy.
Okay. Can't I just talk to you guys?
Anyways, I don't know. I ignore him. So, anyways, I point at Mugen. I'm like, go over there. Go to Hecate.
I'm still
You
understand?
I'm sorry, my name is
like, yes?
Munin. My name is Munin, not Mugen, not
Okay,
Mogan.
okay. All right, Mugen, go there. And I'm like, still waiting for him to
Here
go.
already.
Although I didn't hear
He
anything,
just
my fat ass
flutters up.
cat
He
just
just
smocked off my-
he doesn't even go over to Hecate. He just makes his way straight to the Springwind.
Wait, Hecate's over there though. I'm still yelling at him like, hello?
Just ignores
And
you.
Hecate's still awkwardly holding my arm out. I'm like, okay, I guess no bird for me.
I just whisper. I'm like, can we get a nude bird? Another bird? Anyways,
Munin has
issues. We got there.
Mugen has an
I'll work
Mugen
on that
has an
issue.
has an interesting personality, and he will get over any sort of strife, so long as you also actually treat him like a person, or rather, like an individual.
I guess.
It's okay. I don't
I
see
give him a
that
thumbs
there's
up.
any harm in doing so, but I will leave that up to you. Yes, he then just walks away. Alright. With no unless anyone else would like to do anything before you all leave, the Aesir collect around Heimdall as you watch as his massive greatsword that he has in hand glows this pristine white magic color, and then this column of rainbow iridescent colors rises from around in this circle, this column around him, and as it dissipates, the rest of the Aesir are gone. As the Aesir court leaves the castle, leaving you all behind with Balder. With that, you all make your way, packing up the Springwind, talking with your plans to Sleipnir, who is very much so just like, yes. So you just want me to die? Okay. As he begrudgingly agrees to act as a target for Poseidon, and eventually, the Springwind makes its departure, and the three dragons that are left in this that are left with you depart off in the direction of Niflheim, and you watch as they disappear along the horizon. You see there are different very visual attacks that seem to just be like spikes out of the water, and massive tentacles protrude from the water and try to strike them out of the air, as potentially Dagon and Poseidon are continuing to attack the three dragons as they make their manual way to Niflheim. And as you kind of look off, as all of you are kind of looking off at the horizon, Church, another thing catches your eye. Away from the dragons, away from Poseidon and Dagon, a humanoid figure with the head of a jackal But anyways, the travel. I'm not gonna go. You want me to explain that? No.
Wait. Where did you say saw that?
Church would see that. A humanoid figure, very muted colors, mostly grayish, almost stone-like textured skin, with the head of a jackal. I hope Zoe, are you still here? Oh no. Not
Not
during the
drop that
thing.
anymore.
Not during the thing.
You can
Anyways. Well, life moves on. So the travel from Vukarik's castle to Malefesh's castle takes the brunt end of a day, as you eventually make your way back to the castle. Hey, look, there's a bunch of ships and not things that would be here, because they're all dead. Anyways. Before eventually you all make your way back to the volcano, and you find that it seems undeterred. Nothing seems to have happened since the battle that you all had involving involving whatever was possessing Malefesh. And you all are able to collect the Nahuatl that you have brought with you. Now, referring to your Nahuatl, I will give you access to this map to best kind of put a visual to what this fleet is. So the Nahuatl consists of all of these constructs here. You have 5 Tide Rippers, several militia of Inheriar. This, I believe, this visual here includes all of the Inheriar that take up the Springwind, aside from Cornelius, and 4 Thunderjaws, which are the giant T-Rex constructs. I don't think these have been ever used with your guys' group. No, you did use them for
the first time we met.
The first time you met, yeah. And then they kind of disappeared from importance. But regardless, you all now have your fleet again, and with that, you continue making your way back the way you came to the back to as I'm multitasking, back towards the eastern border, I would say, of the Forbidden East. Now, let me actually just verify real quick. I'm gonna text Zoe real quick. Okay, I'll let that wait. I'll say one thing does happen amidst your travel. Oh, wait. Fuck. There was one more thing I wanted to do. I need to list this out. I need to have a formatted list of the things I want to do. Citrine. Amidst the packing and everybody preparing to leave Fukarik's castle, you are met with you're reacquainted with Lord Freyr as he makes his approach to you. Where do you think you would be amidst all of the sort of packing and assembling of everything going on up here?
I would be walking around, seeing if there's anything anyone's forgotten, looking to see if there's anything valuable to steal in eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
Just wandering in the little area. Maybe check out the throne room.
Okay. You are eventually, as you're kind of just drifting about, met with Freyr, the Lord of the what title did I give him? Why am I forgetting about this? Lord of the Fair, I think it was.
Sounds right.
Freyr, Lord of the Fair. You had originally interacted with him, asking about your about any sort of heritable connection to the Vanir. What is believed to be your original people. And he comes to you as he says, I know that we must part again, Citrine. The Vanir are still in the Feywild, and I must be with my people in order to continue our efforts. You have a place elsewhere, with your companions, with your friends. If ever accosted, he holds up a ring. If ever accosted, and ever need my guidance or my aid, you can reach me through this. He offers you a ring. The ring looks big enough to fit around his finger. Far too big for your. It looks like it kind of like takes up like 2 fingers worth of space.
I gingerly take it and say, "Thank you, but I don't think this will fit." I appreciate the gesture, though.
It'll resize itself. You just gotta kind of like slip it
Oh,
on your
thank
finger.
you, thank you, thank you. I hope we see each other soon.
Indeed. I know not of your origins, but all I know is you are of my people, and I failed you, and it brought you many horrors, and I can never forgive that. All I can do is try to help in the moment. He gives a pat on the shoulder, and he makes us leave.
Thank you, Freyr.
And then we go back to now what we're doing right now. So, in your travels, as you are making your way from Milfesh's volcano, having collected the Nahuatl, to now making your way over to back to the border that you had all crossed, this blockade of demons. Tequila. At what point do you try to contact Loki? Or do you try to contact Loki? Or do you just wait to see if Loki will try to contact you?
I mean, you gotta wait at least a couple days.
Yeah. There is at least a couple days worth of time where nothing seems to happen.
Then yeah, I'm like, where's that snake? How does this work? What did he mean?
Nighttime, daytime, which time do you think you would try to contact them?
Probably daytime.
Okay. At some point you kind of get the understanding that he might be waiting for for you to contact him, and with that you do try to the snake never actually leaves your armor even as you eventually kind of like on the occasion where you step out of your own armor and make your you still kind of just never see Jormungandr leave your armor, but almost in this sort of unnatural sense of understanding that you are getting ready to contact Loki. You do for the first time in several days see Jormungandr slither out of your viewport of your subterranean armor and kind of just look to you expectingly.
Yeah, okay. Make the call, Snake. Do the thing. Come on.
As he kind of looks to you, flicks his little tongue for a second, and then his eyes flash a celestial gold. A very familiar celestial gold at this point. And then the entire setting around you, your entire view of this room that you are in. I'm assuming you are doing this in the comforts of your own quarters.
Yeah.
The scene you're in, this room that you're in, becomes naturally brighter as the room around you is given this familiar golden hue in the space you're in. The snake continues to stare at you, but then you look away from the snake, and standing about 5 feet away is Loki.
Hey, there he is.
There's my guy.
There's my guy.
There's my boy. What do you do?
Yeah. So hey, you gonna tell me about that stuff you were saying?
May I see this weapon?
I'm a little hesitant, but yeah, I guess.
He
Okay.
takes it.
Yeah.
And he begins to examine it. And as he does, something catches your eye. Your bed is on fire, but not in a wild, manic fire that you would see as if your entire bed caught ablaze. There's a small little kindling of fire sitting on your bed. Doesn't seem to spread across your bed. It just seems to be a small mote of fire. A mote of fire you recognize as kindle.
Oh my god. Oh,
It just looks at you.
he's looking at me again. Just
The
think
Loki, if you say that out loud, Loki kind of just like looks up, looks to the left at Kindle, and then looks back to you. He says, is this a friend?
I mean, kind of. He's this poor little kid. I shot him in the head.
His eyes bolden as just like, you murdered You murdered a Jotun child?
Yeah, there was like mind control. It was a mess.
Well, well, you have a vestige, so you should be able to pull him out of this plane of existence. It seems we are not as informed about the weapon you possess. Or rather, the weapon that inhabits your current weapon. Where did you... Tell me about this weapon, this firearm.
Okay, so I built it, with my lab partner, and then
It's like a little arcane sigil kind of forms around his hand as he hovers it over top of the gun. He's examining it. He just tells you to keep
don't
going.
break it.
I'm examining it. I'm not breaking it.
Yeah, okay. So we made it. It gets stolen. She gets shot to death. A cowboy shows up and it's shooting, holy light.
So you are not... This is not originally a vestige of the Nahuatl.
No.
That makes sense. It seems...
These were aftermarket modifications.
As you just watch as he grabs at a section of the gun and he pulls away, but instead of pulling a piece of the firearm away, it's just this like tangible celestial light just rips out of the gun. This almost tether connecting it to the gun. But then this connection severs, and the light retracts into his hand, and a massive glaive forms from the celestial light in his other hand. The gun seems undamaged. He looks at this new glaive in his hand.
What did you just fucking do to my gun?
I have done not so much to your gun. It's a fine piece of work. It's an interesting tempering of a mockery of the Eldritch Blast spell. What was done to it was your weapon was storing a vestige of the Nahuatl. Rather than being a vestige of the Nahuatl itself, whoever this cowboy was it that inhabited, that gave it its celestial magic, decided to store a vestige of the Nahuatl inside the gun rather than turning the gun itself into a vestige of the Nahuatl. And you watch as the glaive begins to once again fill with celestial light, retract into his hand, and you watch as the celestial light what looks to be tries to take on the form of this firearm, of your own gun, and it's struggling. Something's not right as you almost see Loki strain at this light in his hand, trying to take on the form of the gun, before he simply just turns it into a short sword in his hand. Interesting. The gun, the vestige cannot take on the gun.
What do you mean the vestige can't take on the gun? It was the gun, you fucking broke it.
Your gun is fine. As he shoots it up into the air, and you recognize a long forgotten familiar shot of an Eldritch Blast of force damage shoot up into the roof.
This is not the fucking point. My best friend in the world is inside that goddamn vestige or whatever, okay? So I'm
What do you
going to
mean?
need you.
Well,
You know,
let me explain. Let me explain. Here is your gun back. He offers you your firearm.
is my best friend inside there?
Your best friend is inside the vestige here. The vestige is still on your person. I am currently just a projection from within the vestige, from this temporal realm in the vestige.
Oh,
You are fine.
thank-
I will be able to
oh,
give you back
shit.
this vestige. Also, I'm above board. Are we referring to Daisy?
Yeah.
Daisy's fine. She's the bearded devil that's been launching arrows.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's fine. She's not in the vestige. She's still. You pulled her out of the
Well,
vestige.
My concern was like her existence would still have some attachment to the
I see.
vestige.
Spoilers.
Because
no.
like she's made of light, right?
No.
No.
Her golden nature, her golden skin, and her white hair is what gave her the name Daisy. She was born like that.
Okay.
That I apologize that I did not make that evident or clear. But yeah, no, she
That's
is
fine. I think Tequila would still be concerned that her existence might be attached to the gun.
Yeah. He looks to you, he says, your friend is fine. Your friend Daisy has no attachment to the vestige.
That's good to know.
You have what I've done now is simply release this vestige from the gun. And now you have your gun restored to its original make and model. And now you have the ability to properly use this vestige. Or perhaps whoever wishes to wield the vestige.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's cool. Can I get that kid I killed out of here? Like, can I fix that?
Oh yes. Part of
Great.
part of the
Oh
connection
my
with the
god. That is
Part
the
of-
best news I've heard all month.
part of the mechanics of the vestige is that upon a death by the vestige, their soul is transferred to this. An extension, a realm of its own, that only can be accessed through the vestiges. Using the vestiges, you are able to interact with this plane of existence and pull people out. Have you not slain any enemies? Demons? with this?
Yeah, there's a really big demon that I killed with it. What was his name? I don't remember the people I kill most of the time, to be honest.
That person is more than likely here. In this realm. But can't really do anything unless you actively wish to release them. As he kind of gestures a hand over to Kindle.
I mean, after the demon died, it was like, different. I don't know.
What? Which demon?
I don't remember.
Well,
I
all
mean,
of the demons are... All of the demon lords are corrupted celestials. Celestials are corrupted Arvandorians. When you slay one of these demon lords with a vestige, it removes this corruption, restores them to their celestial nature.
Yeah. So is it a good idea to get him out of the vestige or a bad idea?
I should clarify. Nature and nurture are very different things. You restored them to their celestial nature, yes. But they are still very loyal to the Chained Oblivion.
Hey, good to know.
Anyways, you now have access to this. A vestige of the Nahuatl, one of the key weaponry to be used for the Trojan, but also a weapon designed entirely around slaying demon lords, demons in general. These weapons were forged to slay the Chained Oblivion, were lost with the rest of our Vandor. Would you prefer further explanation, or would you like to just hand this over to you?
I'm going to need you to tell me everything, and let me get a piece of paper. I'm going to write this down.
All right.
Everything.
Nothing here is tangible unless you had it on your person.
Ah, shit. Well, I can use some basic magic probably to like print it on. Yeah.
Do you perhaps have encode thoughts? Printing out a piece of like receipt form paper, just.
No, but I might have something. I don't think I have ever used my magical tinkering once. It can definitely do a bit of this. No, it's only up to 25 words.
Well,
I'll leave
anyway.
the cliff notes on my armor.
Well, you find out a way to write this down. I'm going to start talking.
Okay.
You wield a vestige of the Nahuatl, like I said. Very much a demon-slaying weapon, but a weapon of great versatility. As you can see, you have the ability to change this vestige into any form of weapon you would like. It is obviously magical. All damage it deals is of radiant light, the weakness of the demons. If weaponry is not your choice of abilities, the light then fills around the short sword, it shrinks, and instead fills his forearm, and then his other forearm, and they form bracers on his armor, on over top of his clothing. Spellcasting focuses, allowing you to deal pertinent amounts of spellcasting abilities, and can even change the damage type of certain spells, of all spells, into radiant light. Or, if you'd prefer just a bit more protection, and then the forearm guards fill with light again and course over his body and form a suit of glowing radiant armor on his that over top of his clothing. You can forge a suit of armor, providing you with pertinent magical resistance, a decent amount of magical resistance to all forms of damage, and the certain abilities that would allow for additional protection, such as Shield spell and Shield of Faith, which you can cast at will. Your focus ability is mostly what has the focus form of this vestige is what was specifically inhabiting your gun, merged with your gun, which is why your artifice magic had radiant damage and could even cast Revivify, but I don't know if you were pertinent to that. Nevertheless, now with your vestige and your firearm severed, you have a lot more versatility with this weapon. And he turns the vestige back into a dagger, and he offers the hilt to you.
Okay, yeah, very cool. I will take this. Who made it though? Like, why? How?
The vestiges of the Nahuatl were made by the Nahuatl. These were a part of the civilizations that were across the old world. In the Forbidden East, they were Arvandorians, they were Jotuns. But in other parts of the world, there were the Nahuatl. The Nahuatl are very much like the Nahuatl that you possess in front of you, but more sentient, more organic. They would make these constructs like the ones you have before you as siege weapons and war machines. Their main form was that of very obsidian warriors. Humanoid in nature, spear and shield in hand, and these vestiges were used to command them. There are 15 vestiges of the Nahuatl. If all of them are combined, not so much literally, but rather if all of the vestiges, the wielders of the vestiges, give a command word, a command to the Nahuatl, to the Trojan, which is a collection of the Inheriar that make up the old world Nahuatl. If all 15 wielders of the vestiges give a single command word, every single Trojan of the old world Nahuatl would follow this command. And we are talking thousands of Inheriar. Now the new world Nahuatl, some of these that you have brought with you, these ones don't necessarily don't follow the commands of the vestiges. But the old world ones are still very present. Go ahead and make a history check with that. I'll say. Tequila.
We can do a history check.
Okay. You have what's your flash of genius? Just adding your intelligence modifier again. +5? Okay. I'll say for purposes of like making it a 19, because you won't have to worry about it. You'll instantly get flash of genius back anyways. So two things. One, he mentioned that while merged with your gun, it was in its focus form, which is why it turned your Eldritch Blast into radiant damage, and why you were able to cast Revivify, which I think, if you remember, the gun was in fact able to cast Revivify several times, but only, and this was during your first battle with Adamarcus. The second thing, you remember when you first were scouting Vukeric's castle, and Poseidon was there to collect certain Inheriar that were apparently at the bottom of the volcano that he inhabited. You saw these Nahuatl, these Inheriar, being loaded onto this dagger vanguard ship that Poseidon had brought with him. They were very much so like what Loki is describing. very much so of similar make and design as Cornelius and the Inheriar you inhabit, but there's something archaic, very old world. There's very key differences that allow you to distinguish that these are different from the ones that you brought with you. These are more than likely the ones that that Loki is talking about, and he is talking about there being thousands of these. And he clarifies, if all 15 vestiges use this single command word, united in their deciding command, all Inheriar of the old world respond. Obey this command, no matter where they are in Sardonia.
Okay.
But in order to use it, you have to find the other 14. Now, I don't have any on my person, and the rest of Niflheim doesn't have them on their persons either. You'll have to do that yourself in Sardonia, because that's most likely where they are. My guess would be there is a lower continent on the very western end of the very western end of the Sardonia map. This smaller continent. It is where the Nahuatl were originally designed. The I think I remember the name. The continent was, in the old world, it was called Chikamostok. But I'm not sure what it is referred to now. And on a 19 to history check, I don't know if this was naturally came up, you kind of listen to like what he's trying to talk about, where exactly this continent is, and it comes to the sudden realization that this is Ampharina.
Yeah, that's Ampharina.
Okay, so you know where potentially the rest of the vestiges of the Nahuatl are. This continent was the primary civilization of the Chikamostok was the primary residing continent where the Nahuatl were, where they manufactured most of their Nahuatl. The Nahuatl are spread across all of Sardonia, but the vestiges, they most likely are in Ampharina.
So you want me to gather the pieces of a super weapon and control them?
It's not something necessarily you would have to do. It's just you asked about everything about this vestige that you had. It would be a very powerful weapon against the demons. Especially because I believe, if you've informed us correctly, the demons have some of the Inheriar of the old world.
Yeah. So I could just be like, kill Poseidon.
Kill Poseidon, kill all demons in your wake, and they will spend as long as it takes to complete that command. And everyone will hear it. Even the ones hidden in the front lines, captured by the demons.
That's a lot of fucking power, my man.
It is. Which is why it requires 15 people to obey this, to use the same command. All in unison. And the 15 were either in either in this ampharina or perhaps scattered like the rest of the Trojans across Sardonia.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna throw up. Of course, I'm not gonna throw up. I don't throw up. What am I talking about? We're good. No more, please. The snake can call you again, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll talk to you next time then. This is a lot.
And you watch as he clicks out, the golden hue dissipates, and you are left in the room with a dagger in one hand, your firearm in the other, and a little snake staring at you inches from your face.
Okay, get out of my face, you little guy. Get
He
get
just
get in
slithers
the armor.
underneath of
Get
your
in
armor.
there.
All right. Now, mechanically, your Eldritch Blast now specifically does not have radiant damage anymore. But now, I've given everyone access to this handout in the items folder called Vestiges of the Nahuatl. And you can all take a look-see at that. And I will allow, and this doesn't have to be a thing that Tequila holds on to. It can be something that is distributed to the rest of the group, whoever thinks they would benefit from this more. But with that, we are going to move on. So, you have this conversation maybe in like the first couple days of your travel from Maelfesh's volcano to Ampharina. And you come eventually after about about a third of a week's travel, or 2/3 of a week's travel, you make it to the blockade. Now, we're going to do a couple summary rolls. Firstly, we're going to do, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have you all decide on some skill checks to roll to basically summarize how you trudge through the blockade and eventually make it out on the other end, successfully able to make your way the rest of the way to Ampharina. You all are going to be able to, you all can tell me how exactly you want to, basically, you can ask to roll a skill check and explain to me why this skill check makes sense for you trudging through the blockade. And if you beat the DC that I set, then you are successful in that skill check. 3 successes, you make it through the blockade. 3 fails, you are not. Something bad happens. I hope nothing bad happens. With that, I will let you all converse about certain skill checks you'd like to use to determine how your the blockade run goes.
Any ideas right now?
I could maybe use investigation or perception to try and like actually find a decent path through the blockade.
Okay, that's something you can do. I will say we're gonna start. It's gonna get progressively more difficult. This DC. I'm gonna start this DC at a 10. we don't have to set in stone this check is now, but you can if you want to if that's the check you want to roll, go ahead and roll it. $15. All right, so a successful perception check. You kind of ahead of time, kind of scanning and traveling across this blockade. You find yourself on this massive wall of thick fog. The bits of flashes of light from thunder and lightning that courses through this wall. You can see the silhouettes of demons flying through this wall of fog. And eventually you are able to find this sort of clearing where there doesn't seem to be any demons, or rather a lesser amount of demons to have to deal with, that you begin to sort of thread the needle and pass through the wall. Anyone else? That is one successful save, or that is one successful skill check. Anyone else? Yes.
I don't think I have anything that could really help.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Uh,
Most of my stuff is like Arcana, Persuasion. I don't know how that works.
Mine is a lot of it's like hiding, and we're not hiding. We kind of
if you want to use so the stealth check could be just trying to find a way to sneakily maneuver or through the horde of demons that are inhabiting this wall, and perhaps I'll say the Arcana would be essentially allowing you to basically determine how well you are able to use your spellcasting to deter a lot of and like basically summarize combats with your magic.
How's your stealth, Div?
Sorry?
What's your stealth modifier or bonus?
Oh, let's see. Stealth is pretty good, I would say. I think my highest is deception and persuasion, but I don't know if we're gonna go, talk to these guys. Per se.
Wait, what's your bonus though?
For stealth, 7.
Well, that
you
reminds
use
me.
one. Mine's only 6.
That reminds me. Vic, did you? I don't think you responded to my message. Did you see
I didn't.
The handout about the sigil of the Raven's Herald?
I did. Can you summarize it real quick for me? Sorry. It's been a while.
Well, okay. You know what? It doesn't matter right now. I was just like, it's a handout in the Group 5 folder that you can read through. But it's just a few things that you can add on to your spellcasting.
Where is it?
It is in there should be a folder called Items, and then a subfolder called Group 5, and then it should be in there.
I am blind. Sorry, hold on.
It's in Roll20. It's in your journal.
Items, Group 5. I see it, and it's the sigil. Let me read it really quick again.
Okay. But that doesn't really help you in this situation. I was just making sure you had that for future combat sessions.
All right, we'll do. I'm gonna. I guess we could roll for stealth and see if I can stealthily find a way across the blockade. I guess if that would work.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna set this DC at 13. 25.
Oh,
Easy done. You are able to use the scouting from Petal to eventually to thread this needle, and then as you make your way through this blockade, you are able to weave in and out, trying to find using the spring wind's incredible mobility to just kind of slither through the blockade, weaving around potential enemies and ignoring them entirely. Last one, potentially, depending on how you whether or not you succeed or not. Who's got it? Has to be
Hey, what
different.
check? Sorry.
Oh,
someone else.
I'm saying like
Citrine,
one
how
more.
many skills do you have expertise in?
I was gonna ask, are we still in the fog?
You are still in the fog. This is you making your way towards the through the blockade.
I will use my survival ability to maneuver through the fog without hitting anything.
Okay. So the stealth check was kind of already that. I'll say you'll have to probably think of like a different way in which you can use survival. Or something else if you have anything else you want to use.
Could I use Arcana to feel out where enemy ships are, but like where the blockade is, to avoid it?
Which skill check?
Arcana.
Arcana. I will say you can use Arcana as the perception check and the stealth check. You are able to make your way, weave through this blockade, but eventually, even with your capabilities, the blockade is here for a reason, and the blockade is still a very imposing threat, and it's definitely not going to be able to make your way, not going to let you just make your way through it without any sort of a fight. So with an Arcana check, you can roll to determine how arcanically attuned everyone is to, and how well basically your combats go in this blockade.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'll set this DC. Never mind. It's a natural 20. So the DC was 15. You blew that out of the water. And you all are able, and eventually as Petal's scouting and Vic's sneaking eventually gets you almost at the cusp of the blockade, you are eventually spotted. Even with all of this stealth, this immense ability, it's still a giant ass, it's still a giant fucking spring wind. It's still a giant airship in the trying to sneak through a blockade. But that doesn't really matter to you all because you are able to clear the board with your arcane spells, fly through the air, fireballs, and all types of different spell casting from all of you, not just the spell casting, but also these magic items that you have been able to find as several people just fly through the air, knives go flying through the air, this new weapon, the vestige of the Nahuatl that whoever you all decide on is wielding, is able to help you clear the board so immensely. And you eventually are able to clear a path and make it through the blockade. And now, you guys are home free. With that said, takes just a few more days, but eventually, you find yourselves back, at least to Group 2, in the familiar setting of Ampharina. Ignore the token that's there. So, Group 5. How does it feel? What's going through Vic and Hecate's mind as this imposing wall, this blockade, has been this terrifying omen for your entire lives. And is now you are finally free from the Forbidden East.
Here's more than anything, I would say. We're finally out of here and looking forward to see what lies beyond, I guess.
Mhm.
I think so. And then I like to think that Hecate, even though she's a little seasick, likes to look off the side, see what's down there. Just curious for what's new to explore. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. You guys are arriving from this end of the ship, from this end here, making it into Ampharina from the northwesternmost part. And as this small but still, in to your perspective, massive in size continent of Ampharina comes into view, Citrine, you're looking on at, from the deck of the ship, looking on at Ampharina, and there's this unnatural. I say unnatural because it doesn't seem like there's any sort of source, any sort of reason that you be feeling worry. A danger sense, almost. And that's where we're going to end the session for tonight. As you all make your way to Ampharina. All right.
Yeah, you get to deal with elves.
Yeah. Along with a couple other things, as I've hinted at least in the last session, I hinted at a potential crossover, which I think is going to take a while, but we'll see.
Well, nothing we'd have to run into is worse than running into a bunch of elves.
Do we like elves or no? I'm gonna let them know.
No.
We hate elves. Good to
I
know.
really don't want to say you're going to eat those words, but you really are.
Have you ever met an elf?
I made
No.
these elves.
We haven't. I got to know if I've got to be a hater or not. All right.
Well, that's the whole point. We're just neutral for now.
That's
For
true.
now.
As an elf from the city we're closest to, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Wow. All right.
Good to know. I'm a hater. If he's a hater, I'm a hater. All right.
Jesus. All right. But yeah. So, So fair warning. Or actually, yeah. So that is going to be the end of the session for tonight. Thank you guys for coming out. A bit of a fair warning. Some real world stuff going on my end. Potentially might result in a I would call it a hiatus if it probably didn't last more than literally just canceling next session and calling it like and just saying we're going to cancel next session and go on to and start again at the next session after that. It's just some stuff that's going on that I need to sort out, but that might not even happen for all I know. We'll see.
Huh.
Forgive
Alright,
my
let's
fake-
go, guys.
Lord.
Finish the session.
Forgive my fakeness, but yeah. So that's going to be the end of the session for tonight. Thank you guys for coming out, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hello, thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Good luck with your stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.